Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the podcast. Steve, the Buzzman, Buzza, partner in crime.
Megan Buzza here.
So Megan is back. Last episode, stolen away by the kids.
That was a challenge.
You were stolen away by the kids. We actually did quite a lot, and whenever
we had a really good one going.
Yeah, whenever we got into conversation, we were interrupted. If you have kids, we don't need to explain any more than that. So I did kind of a quicker review of Rory's win. I said you had some really, really insightful things. Like, the Masters is by far your favorite event. You could go down as one of... You're a super fan when it comes to the Masters.
Oh, I love the Masters. Yeah, and that one did not disappoint. That was definitely history in the making, this last one.
Yeah, it was insane, and it kind of still feels a little surreal after the fact. It's just crazy. So, is it too soon to do this? Probably, but we are going to do which one was better, Rory 2025, aka last week, or Tiger 2019.
Yep, very different tales.
Yes,
but very interesting depictions of which one we think is best. So
and we're making a huge assumption here that those are the only two. So as always, like and subscribe. Get comments down below. When we're talking the greatest Masters ever, 19 Tiger, Rory 25, there has been some incredible ones.
Yeah.
We are very, very fortunate because we were actually there in 19. Mm-hmm. So we were there, second row on 18 when Tiger hold the putt. It was just an utterly, utterly sensational time.
Electric. It was amazing.
Electric.
Yep.
Megan, and off camera. So I was going to kind of have who wants to take which topic. I said, Megan, which one do you want to take? Tiger.
Yeah.
Wasn't a pause. So
I said, Rory's your boy.
Yeah, no, but that wasn't why. That wasn't why you took. That wasn't why you chose. There was no pause. I know you well enough.
Yeah.
To go. Yeah, Steve's a lost little puppy. He could do with a win. I'll give him this one. That's pause is. There was no pause. Tiger. Yeah. I could hear it in your tone. You don't try and
such different stories. Such different. Like, one's a story of comeback. No one thought that. I mean, I'm sure many people did think. So go ahead and comment down below. But really, that he would come back and do it again like that. Where with Rory, it was, will he ever do it? Is he good enough? Is he, there's that whole fulfillment of destiny story.
So this is going to turn into one hell of a debate. Megan, start with your opening comments. Why was Tiger's 2019 a better
2019? So, it is a little unfair that we were there because that definitely weighs heavily on our Tiger debate. But when Tiger walked up, I'll never forget the feeling we had when he just walked up and you could see him on 18. With Rory, it was more of like this, like, is he really going to throw this away during 18 holes, feeling that? And I feel that took away from some of the great shots that he hit because you're sitting there going, is he really going to lose it? There wasn't a dominance feeling with him. It was more of a like, oh, okay, he didn't quite F it up this time.
So I made a comment last week when I did my initial podcast. I said Rory is a mortal that can do godlike things.
Oh, that is a good point.
And I think that's why there was so much backing behind Rory. Because the interesting thing is over the last few years, Rory has been pretty outspoken about a few topics. Some in which I feel like he probably not his fault. I think he got kind of pushed into a corner. His role on the tour, both just obviously he's been out there. He's definitely a leader in the locker room, so to speak. but because he was also in a position, he's on the councils, the players board, he really did get pushed into some arguments that I think he didn't necessarily want to get involved with. But so what my point is, he wasn't going in as like oh my God, everybody loves him.
Yeah.
And to use like Ricky Fowler 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Ricky, he was the American boy, or is the American boy. Everybody's behind him because he's Ricky.
Yes.
Rory.
Want to see him
yeah,
do well.
Rory, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Rory fan. There's the majority of Rory fans. But I felt like on Sunday, everybody got behind him.
Yeah.
And that's because of the bad shots.
Okay.
It was relatable.
What you said there about him being a mortal doing godlike things, that's very true, because that is the difference of what it felt like with Tiger. Is he did seem like he was in a completely different realm of individual than the standard person, right?
And if we kind of go slightly off topic, so then I can come in and try and score a point on why the Rory one was the best. But we did have the fortune of being there on 2019. You have been many times. So if you're PGA of America, one of our biggest perks, we can get into the Masters. It's
you get a ticket. You get a ticket if you can get yourself there.
Yeah. Just
for you.
And that's probably one of the biggest honors of being a PGA of America member.
I'd say probably. I mean, it's got to be the top perk, if not.
It's got to be that and helping
and being able to just play some golf.
It's got to be that and helping the kids, Megan.
Of course.
But so it's a different experience when you're there. So and everybody hears about you're not allowed to take your phone in, but on a Sunday, it's really hard to actually know what's going on. So when we were there 2019, to give an example, there were 2 hole-in-ones on 16. It was 3-4 hours later until we knew who had hit the shots.
You could hear it.
Yeah. So you hear the roar. Yeah. And then because we weren't, and don't get me wrong, you could have gone out and found out, but just it doesn't naturally come to you. You don't get the replays. So the scoreboards aren't electronic. So like, I've been to the Open before, and the scoreboards, you're seeing a great putt goes in, it will come up on the boards. So you're a little bit in the dark.
Yeah.
And what was cool with the Tiger one is because Tiger was coming from behind, and unfortunately Molinari was having a few issues. It was flip-flopping, but the crowd were definitely behind Tiger. So the person that had the crowd was coming through. So when you were watching it on the leaderboards,
when that number slowly would make its way up,
and the thing that gets confusing. So we had seats on 18, so you get the green chairs. I don't want to spend the whole time because I think there's a lot of information of what happens at Augusta. Some of the
it's very special,
but my experience, and with Megan's been before, so we already had chairs on us. And it does feel like if you get there at like 6 a.m., it is hilarious because it's like lining up for a race, but you're not allowed to run at Augusta National. So you watch grown men doing like the floppy arm. They're like running with floppy arms to give the impression that they're walking. So it's like bizarre and fun. But we're standing there, and Megan says to me, she goes, "Oh, this is what we'll do. We'll sneak in. We'll get there. We'll go here. We'll go." And I kind of said, "Megan, people don't mind your petite frame knocking by them, and people tend to get out the way. Me, 6'2", let's say well-built, beard, people don't like it when I'm barging through." So Megan just says, "Hey, well, why don't I just take the seats?"
I took the chairs.
So Megan,
I went on a mission.
And it was hilarious because it is like a gun goes off.
Yeah.
And Megan just went like into the sea of people and disappeared.
It got our second row seats.
You got our second row seats. It was awesome because I then just got to walk in. So everyone, there's like this panic. And I'm just like walking in, like I felt like if I had a theme tune, the theme tune would be playing. You know, I'm just I'm just walking in.
The ground.
You said let's meet up on 18. I'm like, well, that's a terrible idea. Everyone's meeting there, so we kind of got up.
I don't know if we would have ever found each other.
Probably not. We'd still be there. Well, I say we'd still be there now. The fine members of Augusta National would have kicked us out pretty quick, but yeah. So you kind of got us those seats. And then to go back to the story, so when you're starting to the last 4 or 5 holes, we had gone back to our seat. So Molinari hits it in the water on 15, so you kind of hear the murmurings, and then that came up on the leaderboard. Tiger hits it close on 16. You can just hear the, Tiger, Tiger, Tiger. But the bit that throws you off is you get a massive roar every time a leaderboard is updated. So I think it was Xander was going up 17 and he was pretty close. So the board behind 17 green is updated. The crowd go wild. So we're on 18 thinking, oh my gosh, Xander's just made a birdie, which he hadn't. But that felt like history. But the weird thing with Tiger is if he hadn't won, I don't think it would have affected his legacy.
100% not. Yeah.
Whereas,
not at all.
Where
this would have been crippling to him for sure. Like you can't.
With Rory, yes. So it did feel like it was the Masters versus career.
100%. Well, now that he's like unlocked the code, I bet you he'll win tons of them now.
Yes.
Tons.
Yes.
He'll win more. He'll win. I think my prediction is he'll win 3.
This year?
No, Masters. Like
now. Masters.
Maybe he'll just have 2 more wins in the next few years.
That's a comment we'll have to crop that comment up and see.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
So you think he's going to win 3 more Masters?
3 total Masters, so 2 more.
Oh, 2 more.
Yeah.
I could see his game suits it. And
it's one of those where, he's been up there so many times too. So it's one of those now that he doesn't have the feelings behind his first green jacket. I think it'll just be another, notch on the belt now. It
could be like the shot he hit on 13, he'll like never hit again. That one is man, I'm nervous. I think I've just won a green jacket. Yeah. I got through the hard holes. 11 and 12 were kind of the places and 10 places where I failed last time.
Yeah.
He birdied 10, so it felt like that was the redemption from what happened in 11.
Oh, that was
So then
and also when he played 10 and hit it into the cabins.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The redemption.
Oh, okay. Oh, you said 12
on 10.
On 10. Yeah, I know, but you said. No, you're referring to a year. I thought you were referring to a hole. Like, yeah.
I knew we
Anyways, redemption.
I knew we needed subtitles.
Yeah,
so
there's such a difference though between like Tiger coming from behind, like will he do this again versus like Rory, like don't screw this up. He's like, it's slipping. It's just, no one wants to see that. Like, the alternative to what could have happened, right, on Sunday, no one wanted to see. And like you said, everybody was on his side.
Yeah, everyone was on Rory's side.
I still think it was amazing because it ended the way it did. If it would have ended with Justin Rose, this whole conversation would be very different. Right now.
It would be very. But going back to my point, it's with Rory. It literally, and like it's WrestleMania weekend at the minute, so I keep talking career versus career, or I lose my job if I lose. That's kind of what it felt like with Rory. With Tiger, it wasn't expected. He was coming from behind. You've got to remember, it's the only time he's come from behind to win a major. So that kind of to to get rid of that one, because that was a strange stat for him. All 14 wins, he'd had a 54-hole lead. So coming in from behind, but Tiger, for me, and you look at Ben Hogan when he won at Merion, hits that incredible shot into 18, he's come back from the car crash. Tiger had already, 2008, he won with a broken leg, US Open.
He had already done that.
So he'd already done that.
Yeah.
He'd already had the Tiger Slam. He'd already won the majors, all majors, multiple times. He'd won the Tour Championship in 18. So I think that was kind of not the beginning of the comeback, but it was the beginning of the story arc, you know, for that Masters win in 19. But he had a moment there. You remember when he's walking up the fairway on 18 and the crowd are working behind him. Ironically, Rory's in the group.
Yeah.
But can you?
That was crazy.
So can you see Tiger had already had the moment. Rory hadn't had the moment. So for me, so not only had he not had the moment, he was also in the driver's seat. Tiger wasn't. And then he'd already in 11 had in the driver's seat and he'd already failed.
Yeah. Would you go as far to say, and this is saying a lot, obviously, because Rory has done so much in his career, but truly for Tiger, that was the end, where this could be for Rory just like part of, all right, now see what I can do. It's not the beginning, but it's a launching point.
Again, like I said, for the story arc, you know, Tiger's comeback, wins Tour Championship, wins 19. It feels like it's the end now because obviously you had the car crash and you know, so.
But like that's the final chapter.
But
basically.
it did feel so. There was a comment by Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is obviously a big friend of Tiger. And I'm paraphrasing, so I'm kind of butchering it a little bit, but he basically alluded to the fact Tiger will never feel like it's time to retire.
Yeah, that makes
But it
sense.
was almost like so when you look at that, it's like almost he needed that last one. So to your point, the Masters in 19 kind of felt like, got to 15, broke that streak of 10 years plus. Which is it's crazy how far between majors Tiger was. And Rory, if he hadn't won the Masters, he would have gone to the PGA needing to win, or his time between majors would have been bigger than Tiger's. Which is kind of crazy, because you think Tiger had all of the injuries in there and Rory hasn't. Obviously, Rory's played great golf and won a ton more in that 10 years relative to Tiger at that point, like for like. But it felt like it finished Tiger's story. Like if you were doing a movie, it felt like Tiger's one was the final chapter, you know, great ending to an incredible story.
Yeah.
With Rory's, it felt like they now wouldn't make the film. What's the point of having the film?
Yeah, wow.
And that's what I mean. And to your point, when Tiger won in 19, you go, oh man, that's the 15th. We never knew if the 15th was going to come, and it did. You've just made the comment. Now Rory's won it. You go, oh, I think he'll win another two.
Yeah.
I think he'll win the PGA.
Well, in the conversation isn't which one was more important, because obviously we know which one was more important. It's which one's the best Masters ever between the two.
And this is where... And we go back.
Significance, obviously.
Yes, but this is where we were going. We started talking and we didn't finish off the idea of when you're there, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
With Tiger chasing, the excitement was just incredible. Watching Rory at home, you needed to see how everyone else was doing, because what was fascinating was everybody was hitting incredible shots, but everyone was making the odd mistake as well. You look at Justin Rose, who made 10 birdies, but it was also littered with a few bogeys. Bogeyed 17, I think. Did he bogey 17? I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did.
He is a crazy good. Your memory.
So I think I might be wrong. Bogey 14. And anyway, what I'm saying is there were bogeys littered in with the birdies. Scotty started to chase.
Yeah.
You had Patrick Reed, hits it in close three
by far
putts.
the most exciting Sunday that I can think of at any time I've watched.
But I think
that Sunday was crazy.
But
with the names and everything.
Why I think the Rory one was so good was, again, there was that human element from everyone. They showed greatness, but all the players were making slip-ups, mistakes. I think the course played a part in that. I think the layout offers birdies, but the conditions of it, I think it was dry. It was playing super tough. But, sometimes when you have the best two, I like to use team sports. When you got the best two teams, and they're like flawless, they're drilled, they know their procedures, they know their the way they like to play. And then when the moment comes, it's not a spectacle because they just cancel each other out. I felt like Rory's one, no one was canceling each other out. It's a bit like when the boxers, the game plan goes out the window and they just start swinging. And it was, so it was enthralling. If we look at the ending, Tiger only needed the bogey up the last. If Tiger needed a par, and Tiger was very clever, but this is where, let me flip this around. If Tiger was in Rory's situation, it would have just been another great win by Tiger. Tiger would not have let anyone in. Tiger does not hit that shot on 13. Tiger just grinds it out and wins by 2. Rory kind of let us back in, and you remember we were in the middle. He was hit 3 wood down 13. He's in the middle of the fairway, and he was laying up with iron, which he did perfectly. And I'm not suggesting for a second I was predicting the wedge shot, but I said to you, do you think he knows that Justin is doing as well as he is? Because he's going to finish this hole and only have a 2-shot lead, and with 15 and the things that had happened on Thursday, a 2-shot lead can go pretty quick. I wasn't expecting the wedge shot. All of a sudden, he's on the next tee with no lead. But you see, Tiger wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, you did say that.
So, but that for me is one of the reasons why it was so spectacular. And I'm try to argue my own point. People forget when Tiger, when he did the chip in, was that 15? When he chipped it.
Not good at years, and no, I know the shot.
Yeah,
I definitely know the shot.
So people forget he did bogey 17 and 18, and then that's why there was a playoff with DeMarco.
Wow.
So sometimes you could also argue Tiger was so good you remember him as a god.
Yeah, definitely.
But last week, like I said, it was so enthralling because I felt like Rory's career was on the line.
Yeah.
Tiger's, it was just a icing on the cake.
So I have an idea, and one of you is going to be able to do this. Just saying. So if you took Tiger's career and Rory's career, maybe even Jack's career, and if it was transferred into a symphony of notes, I wonder what the song would look like for each of them. And in regards to where would those peak points and the tune, which one would end up having the best, where, I'm saying with Tiger, it's like it ends on a higher note, where he doesn't have that, where it trails off effect. I'm just saying, someone's going to do it, it's going to be cool.
So are you asking the 5 people that watch this, are we hoping one has the skills and the band?
No, it's like AI. AI would have that done, and by the end of this, it would already be done.
Megan, don't mention AI because you could just simply type in whose victory was better, Tiger's or Rory's. And then it would simply say which one of Tiger's, and you put 19, and then it would say Rory's.
Well, I do think you brought up a good point here.
I'm enthralled how we've now. So with this song.
Oh, there we go.
So we go
back to my song.
We're going with this. Tiger's Tiger's story is strange because it's the massive high, and then just before the credits come up, it kind of
because with these notes, you would have the low points, you would have the high points, because they both have had.
I don't think you've thought this analogy through at all.
Oh, I have. They're already working on it right now.
So you say, so if it was a band,
it's a symphony.
No, here we a sympathy.
Symphony.
Symphony.
So there's gonna be a lot of instruments involved.
So we're saying if they made Rory the musical, or Tiger the musical.
Now we're talking.
Okay.
He likes it. You can tell that you like it.
I would argue that this is a great tactic. I think you're losing to the fact that the Rory one was better. So you've tried to throw a loophole into if Tiger was a cake, what type of cake would he be?
Tiger the
musical. If Rory was a macaroon, how crunchy would he be?
All right, last thing to close up our conversation. What is going to be on the Champions Dinner menu next year? Your prediction.
So that's a fascinating one, actually. That is a good one. I have no idea.
He's surprised.
What?
He's surprised.
I have no idea because I think because Rory's lived in so many different places now. It would be fascinating what he'll go for.
I like that Scotty's really stayed true to him. I like his dad's meatball.
I was going to say, he hasn't cut anything off his hands, so he can't use that one. I want to say fish and chips, but obviously that's a Nick Fowler, and that's a very English thing. I'm thinking of Irish. He'll definitely have an Irish theme.
Oh, yes.
He'll definitely have he's very patriotic, kind of an ode. I love and I knew his parents had supported him. I didn't realize it. In the last week, obviously, there's been a lot about it. He flew home after the Masters. I didn't realize how much they had done. They work in multiple
working
jobs,
100 hours a week,
crazy.
Multiple jobs.
So there'll definitely be something in his upbringing they'll definitely have something along those lines. But he does In and Out as well, so maybe
there you go.
The baller move, because In and Out is not on the East Coast. In and Out for me is the baller move.
So you guys, who won this one?
We need to finish
Team
this.
Tiger, Team Rory.
Yeah, go Team Tiger or the right answer, which is Team Rory. It is kind of fascinating because they're so iconic, but for different reasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I've kind of said maybe Tiger didn't need it, but sometimes so much time had passed. Michael Jordan didn't play in the NBA for 10 years and then go, you know what? Actually, guys, I haven't won anything. It's time to go. The best of the best usually go out on top.
Yeah.
They don't hang around that much. Whereas Tiger, his desire to keep going, his injuries had and he just kept battling. Maybe you could argue Tiger did need it. Rory certainly needed it. I don't feel like Rory would have ever recovered, whereas I feel like Tiger would have.
Just fine.
The great news with both is we're never going to need to find out that. They're both worthy winners. Both of them in their own way created just iconic moments.
So happy that we've been able to watch both of them.
Maybe this has gone into a playoff, and we would need to see who can birdie the first. and the extra holes. But yeah, get comments down below. So Rory, Tiger, or other?
Or other.
Like you mentioned
There
Jack.
have been some
That's
great
interesting.
moments, yes.
But the Masters, you got the Greg Norman implosion in '96. Mm-hmm. Rory was kind of on there to do that. To join the club.
Yeah.
Of all
very exclusive club.
Yeah, but of all of the sports tournaments in the world, what you get from the win is so different. It's that in itself is iconic, unique. Go on, add a word that kind of stops this rambling.
I mean, it was history. It really was. I mean, iconic. That's the best way to describe it, really.
Yeah, there's just so much pressure in there. Both of them incredible athletes. Until next time.
Yes, we will be back.
We'll be back. I hope you're happy. I hope you're safe.
Hope to catch you soon.
Hope to catch you soon.